Evening J-Pod, this is Mr. Mustaflis coming to you live from Athelstan's kitchen again. Tonight, Athelstan will be cooking some very special baked goods, something that you guys totally have had before and have never missed out on. I believe Athelstan said it's a recipe that Will gave him and that he's totally using, and that dish is called chocolate self-saucing pudding. I'm not entirely sure what that is. I'm an elephant. I've never had chocolate or pudding, so this will be very interesting. Athelstan, take it away. To start off, we'll be looking at the ingredients list, and as according to Steve, the master baker at JPod, the ingredients list is pretty stock standard. You've got 1 cup of self-raising flour, a third cup of caster sugar in 4 tablespoons, but drinking chocolate powder that I still have left over, but half in the batch and half as the icing, I think, or the thingy. You'll see. I'm not good at baking, so apologies if I've butchered this. Half a cup of milk, 40 grams of butter that's melted, 1 free-range egg, some vanilla essence, which I totally have some and you just can't see it because it's that special, brown sugar about 1 cup's worth, and 1 cup of boiling water. We will have our oven, or whatever cooking element you've got, set to preheat at 180 degrees Celsius. Time to butter up your baking tray. Woohoo! For the wet ingredients, we're mixing up half cup of milk, 1 free-range egg, 40 grams of melted butter, and the vanilla essence. Next, we'll sift the flour, sugar, and cocoa into this mixing bowl. We'll sift a third cup of the caster sugar, 2 tablespoons of the cocoa powder. Make sure to mix it well so that it's a nice even sort of texture or color depending on what bakers look at. Next, we'll be combining the wet ingredients of milk, butter, eggs, and the extract or flavor with the dry ingredients of flour, sugar, and cocoa in the same bowl. And you should get this weird brown mess. Also, it's up to make sure that your mixing apparatus is up to the job and won't break and turn into a weird U-shaped teardrop thing. Make sure when ladling to go half of whatever container you're going with, because it will rise, and you also want some room for the inevitable sauce that will be sourcing itself. Yeah, that's how it works. Once you get it all filled up, you'll have to experiment with the amounts. I'm just guessing that will be okay. I've got a little bit left over, so I'm going to just try doing that without the sauce and see what kind of batter it turns into. And we can then take it from there. Next up, we will look at the sauce part of this whole recipe, and that's going to be with the leftover ingredients you've got of brown sugar, extra cacao, and boiling water, which we will then pour on top of these 6 portions and then put it into the oven to bake for another 20 to 30 minutes depending on the make and model and age of your oven. Mix well to combine that, and that's your sauce basically. So nice, rich. I'm using the same spoon just to try and use up all that batter, because I don't like wasting, but that smells pretty good. It smells like really good hot chocolate. Probably not going to work considering I didn't use cacao like they wanted, but we will see. And in the oven for 20 to 30 minutes. Make sure that you experiment with this so that you know what kind of pot you're using. That's all probably going to spill, but we'll see. It might do its job, it might not. Either way, you know me, I will eat anything that tastes like food, so definitely going to try all of these. Within 5 minutes already, I kid you not, that is now rising. It's probably going to spill or do something, so we will see. These are what I got after cooking it for 20 to 25 minutes. You didn't need the full 30 minutes, it just depends. But you can sort of see that my pots are probably too small. If you use something a little bit bigger for the same portion, you should be able to get something a little bit nicer and a little bit more to your liking. As you can also see that I've had to pour some sauce in there because everything has fallen out. Sorry, Georgia. Sorry, Godfather Sanders. Yes, I'm sorry. But yeah, I've got that left over, which is super rich. So that'll definitely be good with the dry innards of this basically cake now. But this one, which had more of a height, seems to have done pretty well. So it looks like height is the key here. You don't want it to rise too high, but you also don't want to put a lot of that portion in. As you remember, this had a lot smaller of a portion of the batter, and it's still sort of gooey behind all of that. This is the traditional J-Pod self-saucing pudding, which, as always, following traditions, you guys don't get to eat because something went wrong, and something went wrong, so we don't get to enjoy it as the youth leaders that well. We're just trying to eat it so that we don't have to throw a lot of good food out. Back to you, Mr. Mustapheles. So, Mr. Mustapheles, what do you think about that? My first, or rather second time baking something for the youth. Oh yeah, it could have gone better. My throat is still very dry, and since I'm a stuffed animal, that's not really surprising, but it's super dry now with that totally dry pudding that's not pudding anymore. But good try. Experiment with a little bit, and as soon as you get that down, you should be able to be cooking up a storm just like Steve and Georgia do every week at their own house, because they're just great at cooking stuff. And then you've got Will, who's also great at cooking stuff. So yeah, one day, Athelston.